Hi and welcome to Webble World 3 basic function tutorial. My name is Miki Kuhara and I'm going to guide you through this tutorial to give you the basic idea what you can do in Webble World. If you don't at this moment have any clue what Webble World is, it's a place where you can create and use Webbles, and maybe that means nothing to you either, but at the end of this tutorial I'm pretty sure you will have a clue. So Webble World can easiest be found by you Google Webble World and get to our portal. You will maybe find that there are two versions, a Silverlight version, that's the old version, skip that. The one we're talking about here is the new version and it's an HTML5 based version. So Webble World 3 is what you're looking for. And when you come here the first time you will see this intro that we're looking at right now. It will only play the first time. After you've finished watching or skipped the intro, you will end up at this page. It's just a blank page with a top menu. And the logo in the middle just wants you to know that we made this at Kaido University in Japan. That logo will disappear after your first visit. So, let's go into the details of what the menu allows us to do. We will begin by loading a Webble from the Webble browser. We will pick the fundamental Webble because it's the most easy, most basic Webble. There are many and we will look at them a bit later. So when you have loaded a Webble, right click will give you the Webble menu, or double tap if you use something else than a PC. And you have the top menu. We will look into details of that later. The two most basic functions you find in the Webble menu is of course duplicate, which do exactly what you imagine it to do, and delete, which of course also do what you imagine it should do. The most important part of the Webble menu is the properties form or the slots form, and these are all the values you use to configure the Webble the way you want it to look or behave. These values are different from different Webbles, but in this basic one we can change the text displayed and the width and the background color, and after we've done that you will see how the values are changed immediately. Next you have maybe the self-explanatory bring to front part in the Webble menu, just to make sure that one Webble is top on another. Nothing strange about that. Just below bring to front we have the set protection, which allows us to block the Webble from doing certain things. Like here we just turn it off to move and not duplicate. And we will look into details of these options later. Now we turn it back again. As you begin creating and configuring your Webbles, you might feel that you want to save your work. To do that you will create a workspace. But to have a workspace you have to be signed in to our Webble World platform, and you need an account. That's also if you want to publish the Webble to the outside world. So before we go any further, I want you to create a Webble World account. If you already have one, just sign in. And you can also sign in and create this account by using social media sites like Facebook or Twitter and Google, and I already have a Google connection, so I will click that one. And then after you have been logged in, we will have a little bit more features that we can look at. After you logged in, your name will appear in the top right corner. And now we can save our workspace, the work we are doing right now. And if you already have workspace saved, you can find them in the open workspace area. So let's save this one by giving it a name, which can be anything you want. It can even be a duplicate name, doesn't matter. And then it will be stored at the Webble World server for access later. You can also share your workspaces with other people, and that will mean that they can work on the same area as you, and also in real time, which is kind of cool. And if you finish with the workspace and you don't need it anymore, then you can delete it. Just open the workspace and then select delete, and it will be deleted from the server, and all the work you've done will be gone. Next in the top menu is the Webbles menu. This is where we found the Webble browser. You can also load Webbles from your local computer or from some other online public server that you know about with URL. You can load previous loaded Webbles also with the shortcut key. You can publish Webble, which will go details later, and you can also do the editor, the template editor, but we will look into that a bit later. So next let's look at the edit section of the top menu, but first we get a Webble with Alt F8. You can get a fundamental Webble automatically loaded. Let's duplicate this one and move it here. Edit menu top things are undo, redo. It do exactly what you expect it to do. Remember everything you are doing in the system, and you can redo and undo it. Next, you can select all, and when they get selected, you can also see these interaction objects surrounding the Webble, which we will look into more later. So deselect them. If Webbles are selected, then you can apply these edit functions on them. So you see duplicate, for example. So we select the hello this Webble here, and now we duplicate. Then all selected Webbles will be duplicated. Shared model duplicate, we'll look at some bundles. We'll also look a little bit later. And delete. So selected Webbles, we select two, and we choose delete, and of course all selected Webbles get deleted. Multi-Webble properties we'll look at a bit later. In the platform properties, you just find three global values that can control the environment a little bit. We have the execution mode, which is usually set to developer. You have your background color, and then auto behavior. Some things are done automatically, but you can turn it off if you want to. Next is the view, toggle connection view. We'll look at a bit later. Active workspace info is just telling you a little bit about what's going on the platform right now. How long time have you been running, how many Webbles are loaded, and so forth. Finally is the full screen mode, which is we are in right now, and we don't need to turn it off, but you basically understand what that means. The last top main menu part is the help. Here you will find the documentation, the manual of the system, everything that we talk about here and more. You have FAQ where you can send in questions, and we will answer as quick as we can. Chat is a global chat. You can speak to anyone currently online in Webble World. The support, just mail us about anything you want to know. Developers community is just an outside area where you can find other Webble developer. If you want to develop templates, you would download the developers package, everything that you need, code and so forth. And more about that later. You find the same thing in the editor. We also have the whole system on GitHub if that would be of interest, but most people, I guess, don't need that. We report bugs, and you have an about area. And if you like what you see, you can always share it in any social media that you fancy. And finally, if your English is not your first language, maybe you like to change the platform language to something that is more suitable. So let's start doing some Webble configuration. And we will begin with parent-child relationship, and for that we need a new Webble, a text input Webble, and we will assign a parent to it. When you do this the first time, you will get an info box giving you some hints and information about the best way to configure the Webbles together in a relationship so that you get a better overview and easy to maintain. Anyway, so the blue color surrounding is possible parent, and we click on that one. As you do that, the slot communication is auto enabled, so the two slots here will be the message and text, and they automatically start communicating with each other. As you see when we type, if you move the parent, the child follows, but the child is independent in its movement. So let's look at the slot communication connect slots area. This is where you can configure which slots are communicating with the parent Webble. And in this case, as I said, it's the text and the message, and they are sending and receiving in both directions. And we can change this as we wish. We keep the text in the child, but in the parent we change to the background color, and we only send. And Webble World 3 is not a color, so not much happens, but we can change this and type in blue, and then it's blue. Or any other color. And this is how you could communicate with slots and get the effects you are after. Let's make it another Webble. We duplicate this one and get a new child and assign a parent. You see either of these can be parents, but we take this one again. And we change the slot connection to foreground color in this case to just see how that looks. But now you get the idea. Parent-child relationship, slot connection. Next, let's look at the configuration objects or configuration balls that you find on a Webble when you double click it and you see this frame and the balls. The first yellow left top is the menu, same as you would right click, but on a tablet you would need it, or a phone. You have the rotate, and in the bottom right corner you have resize. All Webbles don't have this, but most Webbles do have this ball, and it works as you think it would. You can select several Webbles at the same time, but when it comes to the balls they only affect themselves. And then you have a sign parent, so this is a quicker and shorter way to do what we did previously. And you click here and you get a parent. Next, let's look at what we find in the Webble menu called shared model duplicate. We do one of these duplicates and see what we get. If we now open the properties form for this new Webble, you will find a new column with checkboxes saying that all these slots are shared with its original. This is what we mean with shared model, and we can change this. All the changes in these slots that are check marked will appear in the original as well, because they are shared models. You can uncheck and check this as you wish, and you see as horizontal position, vertical position are already unchecked because they don't want to be in the same place. So this is how we would do it. We change here too, and let's take away the angle to 0. So you see these two are now doing the exact same thing. You also see say hi in both, because these two are parent-child, but the other two are shared model, two different types of connection. They are not connected as child-parent. We can look at this closer with the connection view toggle one on here. Here you see parent-child with the slot communication on message, and here is a red ring with a number showing these two share models with each other. If you make a duplicate shared model of this one, now they all three have the same shared model, and you can see that in the view. If you make a duplicate of this parent-child here, ordinary duplicate, the new one will not be shared model anymore, as you see. We looked at set protection a little bit quickly before, and we will not go too deep at this time either. We just want you to be aware that there's a lot of things you can do here that can be useful for your Webble and controlling the behavior. If you don't want to know what each parts do, you can just hovering above the question mark to get information about that. You can also do this on multiple Webbles if they are all selected, and it can be a very efficient way to get changes. The multiple Webble change is also available for properties and slots. So we create a bunch of Webbles here, and then we will select them all, and multi-Webble properties form will open, and here we can now change something which will affect all selected Webbles when we push the change. You can also retrieve values this way from Webbles. Slots and properties comes with the Webble made by the template developer, but you can also add your own custom slots if you need them. So we have three types. The first is the standalone. You just give it a name and you give it a value, and that's about it. You submit it. Now you will find this slot in the property form in the button, and this one you can change as you wish, and you can delete it if you don't need it anymore. The other custom slot you can create is the visual element. You can actually use it for CSS changes, and we will pick one of the elements of this Webble, and the transform set index set rotate here, and that will automatically then be, let's make that then we change the value, and you click and you get, now this was in this angle, but you can add another one just to give you the hint of the power that you have of this transform Y subject, and now you see both of them rotates in the properties form there. So this is a way to control how it looks, how Webble looks, by adding slots that goes for the CSS values. Let's go back and look at the last one. The last custom slot is a merge combo slot. So basically you only have one slot per communication, but with the merge you can create a package of several content. So we take the background color and this message, and then you have a package. If you look at it in the properties form, you cannot change it here. This is just a package of 3 other slots you already have, but it's very nice for communication, with slot communication. So let's use it that way. Let's create a duplicate and connect them, assign parent, and then open the connect slots. And now you will see in the bottom here we find new, and if you do that you will get a new type of form because it's 3 values packed into one. And here you can now decide how these values will be channeled through this package. And when you set them out here, you see they are actually opposite colors as we set it. And we make a change so that you see that it happens like we said. There you are. Also in the Webble menu is the customize menu items. This is how you can make the menu behave and look the way you want it. You can not change the default menu parts, but you can turn them on and off after your own wish. You can also add your own custom menu by adding slot changes to a menu part. And in this case we will do a grow, adding 50 to the slot value of width, and same thing to height. And when it's executed, it will do what we hope it would do. It grows. You can also customize the interaction objects that we find when we select the Webble. And you cannot change the colors and the positions and in that sense, but you can here also enable and disable some of these, not parent assigning though, but the others. And as with the menu items, you can create your own by slot changing, and we make one called shrink in this case. And we do the same thing here, but instead of adding 50 we will remove 50 from the width and the height, and then enable it and submit. And then we will double click, we find a little new ball here and shrink, nothing happens. Yes, okay, so let's go back into the custom. We didn't say what kind of mouse event should create this, and we need a mouse click here. So there, now it will work. Shrink, bang, here it's shrinking. Next, let's look at bundling. So imagine that you have created a Webble set that you like, and it does what you want it to do, and now you want to package it at one as one. You would bundle it. You can find the bundle in the Webble menu, but you also find it in edit. And first you would then select them all, and then you would bundle them. When you click bundle, you would be asked which slots in all of these Webbles do you want to be available in the bundle, and we only pick the message of the top Webble here. After you've done that, it becomes one bundle. It still does what it's supposed to do, but it's each independent Webble cannot be reached. It's just one. If you go to the properties form, you only find the message as the available part, and the rest is just bundle properties. So we change here, be cool, you see that Webble changed. That's about. When you finish with a Webble that you like and you want to share it with the world, you want to publish the Webble. You can do that through this menu, or you can do it in the Webble menu in publish. Remember, you have to be logged in as a user to be able to publish things online. So you would then pick publish in the menu, and a form will open where you add the information you want. The image is out-generated, but you can pick a custom one from your local machine if you want. Type in the data you want to help users finding your great Webble, and as you see, you can also save this on your local computer, publish it locally, not to the rest of the world, but we of course want you to be online so we can see what you did. Adding publishing groups, depending if you have groups, we will not go into details with that. After you publish something, it will be found in the Webble browser for others and for yourself to load. And the Webble browser is of course your main tool for finding all the Webbles you need to do a good Webble configuration, all from game parts, text parts, charts, whatever. You just search and you look for what you want. if you look for calculator, you might find several, and you will then pick the one that suits your needs best and load that one. And if it does what it's supposed to do, here we can 5 times 32 equals 160. Yeah, it seems to work. So if we want to look on the inside, how does it do it? We can unbundle it if it's bundle, and then we can tear it apart and start investigating the slot communications and the properties and whatever this Webble is doing to understand it. If you like it, the changes, you can always republish it as a new Webble, but the original will never be destroyed. It will always be the same. You just have more Webbles, new Webbles that comes from one. It's not just widgets, as we also have applications, and you can build your own applications as well easily by putting Webbles together, like this paint Webble. If you want to write your own Webble template, meaning that you write code, HTML and JavaScript and CSS, then you have 3 ways to do that. One is to use the Webble template editor directly, and we will get back to that in a moment, but it's here under Webbles. Or you can download the developer's package and write it in your own editor. Or the most easy way is to take a Webble that already exists, go to About of that Webble, and then create a sandbox copy. You will then find that copy of the code of that Webble in the template editor, as you see here, and you can build from that and learn from that and just improve the small pieces that you want to improve. It's a very easy way to learn to build your own templates. If you want to create your own template from scratch, go to the template editor, give a unique ID, the system will tell you if it's not unique, name, description, and then create it. And then you add the files that you need, which are all preset so that it's easy to find them. The basic view HTML, which is necessary, and also the control.js, packed with information, to-dos, commentaries to help you write the code and where to write the code. CSS is optional. And then you can also add third-party libraries. For that, you would use manifest file to write which files, and then you drop these files, images, JS libraries, whatever, in here. If you want to see your work in action, just save it, go back to Webble World, and load it as a sandbox Webble, as you see in this list, and it works as a normal Webble, can do Webble stuff, interact with other Webbles, and so forth and so on. So a quick recap. To develop your own templates, you can download the developer's package or work with the built-in editor. Just give it an idea, name and description, and then adding the files that you need, both your own files by dropping them or the ones that is pre-made. If you don't like what you're working with, you can just delete it. But if you do like what you work with and you want the world to have it, just load it in your browser, this sandbox, and then publish it. Type in the information you want, and there you go. You have created your own Webble template. And that's it to start with. Now I recommend you to go to Webble World and start exploring, finding all the different Webbles that exist, see how they can combine with each other, build your own stuff, learning the ropes, so to speak, and enjoy. Good luck.